Namaste, Suswagatam, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels. We are again with an interesting topic. Today is episode number 224, and the topic in discussion with Dr. Subramanian Swamy and the team will be need to delete secular and socialist from the preamble of the Constitution. And with this, we will be it will be over to Dr. Swamy, but just I wish to remind our viewers that these words secular and socialist was introduced in the preamble in 1976 during the emergency rule of Srimati Indira Gandhi. Dr. Swamy has gone to court and challenged this, and without much, I will now request Dr. Swamy to start the discussion. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Thank you, Jagdish. This, as you pointed out, during the state of the emergency, this secularism and socialism, two words, were introduced into the preamble of the Constitution. The preamble is actually is a guide to how the Constitution, all these laws and so on and so forth have to be done, and the Constitution of India, which is a publication which is available, which are to be focused in what way, it comes out of really the preamble. So the preamble is an extremely important thing. Preamble can be amended. There's no bar to amending the preamble. The question that I raised in the court, and I'm happy to see the judges picked it up very fast, and that was that does the preamble of the Indian Constitution, can it be added and subtracted in it? That's a key thing that needs to be put through. So let me give you first a broad picture. First of all, I am against socialism. You see, is something that originally the word came from Europe, when Martin Luther had a quarrel with the king, and he was a reverend, and it was whether religion and the king, they should mix. So that sort of thing. It was a very limited concept. It's not a proper word for a country like India, where there's always been religion has always been independent of the king, or the king has been independent of the religion. Religion was really articulated by the Brahmins, as they were called. They were scholars who also used to teach. And so it was in India. It's this issue of separating religion or the padre or the clerics from the royalties. It didn't arise at all. It never rose at all. There was a kind of a harmony between the two. There were very rare occasions, except when Chanakya was humiliated by the Nanda dynasty king. At that time, of course, he gave up his teaching and so on, and brought the government down. But after settling everything, he went back to teaching, and being a sannyasi, sadhu, etc. So the India's secularism is not a meaningful word. We believe all religions lead to God. There's no other religion which believes that. I mean, I keep telling people, when you say Hindutva, what are you afraid of? If you are a real Hindu, then you cannot object to any other religion. And you cannot even say that my religion is superior to yours, because we believe all religions lead to God. We may say, of course, our one religion can go faster to God, and the other one can go slower, whatever. But the fact is that there was never this kind of thing. So, in this context, to bring in secularism was meaningless. So let me begin by saying that the original constitution, which was adopted by the Constituent Assembly, which was set up for this purpose, they on 26th November 1949, the final draft came. Ambedkar was the one who piloted all the amendments and so on. The president of the Constituent Assembly was Rajendra Prasad, and the chairman of the Fundamental Rights was Sardar Patel. Jawaharlal Nehru wrote what they called as an objective note or whatever, where the fundamentals of the preamble was contained in it, and it was worked on, and then ultimately it was finalized somewhere around 1949. So now, therefore, the first thing I want to say is that our preamble says, and if I can read out minus and then come down to the amendments that were made during the emergency, it says, "We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic," what was added later on in 1976 was socialist and secular. So now today's edition of the Constitution says, "We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure for all its citizens justice, which includes social, economic, and political justice, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship." And therefore you don't need secularism if you're going to say that there's liberty for your belief, liberty for your faith, and liberty for your worship. It's a very comprehensive, it's much more than just secularism. And so, therefore, secularism is actually a useless thing for us in this formulation. And then equality of status and opportunity, and for promoting amongst them all fraternity. So this is what it states there. And then it says, "In our Constituent Assembly, the 26th day of November 1949, we do hereby adopt and enact and give to ourselves this Constitution." So this is the framework, and then the Constitution comes in the form of in terms of all the articles, which there are, I think, about 424 or some articles in the Constitution, and there are other parts of it which add to the Constitution. I need not go into all these details, but just to say that essentially the Constitution is structured on the preamble, and therefore the preamble is very important. And this was meddled with in 1976, and at that time there was a state of emergency, and they brought the bill in between September and November. I mean, it was introduced in September and then voted in November of 1976 during the emergency. And most people were in jail, and most of the opposition MPs were in jail. Some of the ruling party people were also in jail, like Chandrasekhar and Mohan Daria and so on. And so in that system, they brought it in. There were a few who were considered so harmless that the Congress party didn't even bother to put them in jail or put out a warrant against them or a visa and so on. So some of them therefore attended the session. And let me just read out how it went. After Gokhale, who was the law minister, presented the whole matter. Then a Tamil, he was at that time, I think he was ADMK. He was perhaps with MG Ramachandran, and he said, if you had declared the emergency, if you had declared the emergency as over and allowed discussion, then it would have been proper. I mean, it's a very polite way of saying, why do you want to pass such a huge thing when there's a state of emergency? Let the emergency be over and do it. And Gokhale says, has the emergency in any way come in the way of holding discussions? So ridiculous. So then Om Prakash Tyagi, who was Jansang that time, he says at this all the seminars are banned, and so to explain how the people are being they are being not allowed to speak and debate thing. So this Gokhale replies, nothing has been banned. How can you? He said nothing has been banned. Then Tyagi says, here in Delhi they have been banned. He says, no, listen to me, no such thing, etc. So, I mean, they just dismiss the whole thing, they get it through. And the idea is what? That the idea is to now, at that time, the idea was to bring it in close connection ideologically with the USSR, which is no more, which has been folded up and broken into, I think, some 16 countries or something like that. So today there's only Russia left over, and all the others like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, etc., plus Georgia. So many, all these kind of have become separate countries. Ukraine has become a separate country also. So that way, at that time, there was a lot of pressure for the Soviet Union, by the Soviet Union, to see that India becomes part of the Soviet system. So this was apparently to abuse it, they brought it. Now, I say, why should it be removed? And mine is not based on socialism not good or this and that. I'm saying this is absolutely wrong. It is illegal. You can't do this. If you start doing like this, then in future, anybody can, any other crazy chap will come or put some new kind of emergency and put all this in. So therefore, the question will be that what is the reason that this secularism was brought? Of course, we know that it is because there was Mrs. Gandhi was all the time targeting basically the RSS connected political people, and so that time they wanted to do it. But the important thing is, before the constitution was finalized, there was something, there was a huge debate which was conducted in perhaps the most efficient way by Dr. Ambedkar. Of course, he got full support from Rajendra Prasad, he got full support from Sardar Patel, and he literally, every amendment, every article, everything you see, he analyzed, put it across. And there was a very well-known person who was all the time making this. His name is K.T. Shah. He was bringing on amendments after amendments after amendments. So he brought these amendments, and so Ambedkar has analyzed why we can't have things like the secularism and socialism and so on. So Ambedkar rejected it after full explanations. So therefore, to bring it in without any regard for what happened in the Constituent Assembly, and stick it in. This, in my opinion, shows, Ambedkar was never recognized by the Congress Party. The first time he got Nobel Prize, excuse me, when he got the Bharat Ratna, that was the time when we were in power, and the Congress was out of power. That is the time Ambedkar got his Bharat Ratna. Even Sardar Patel got it, and I am pleased to say that at that time Chandrasekhar asked me, the 26th January is coming, kisko dena chahiye? He asked me, and I said, let me look around. And I went through the list, and I found Sardar Patel's name not there. So Sardar Patel got Bharat Ratna when? He got it in 1991. Can you imagine the man who was known as the Iron Man, the man who melted, molded everything and created a Hindustan, a big Hindustan, a connected Hindustan, not little pockets of Rajas and Ranis and everywhere. He didn't get Bharat Ratna. Can any congressman explain this? I mean, today we have a mini aspect of that when Narasimha Rao has got it, and I'm very pleased because I was every year after the BJP came to power in 2014, I used to go and write a letter on the eve of the Republic Day to say that Narasimha Rao should get it because he had the guts as a congressman to give up socialism and bring in market economy, and that's how we were traveling. From Jawaharlal Nehru's time right up to the end of Indira Gandhi's time, the rate of growth of GDP was only 3.5% per year. And the communists, in order to hide their shame, because it was all socialism that was being practiced, being used for economic policy, there you see, they began saying this is a Hindu rate of growth. And all over the world, people used to derisively say, because the Hindus are, people who go slowly and they are lazy, etc., etc. I don't know what the implication was. It was called the Hindu rate of growth. It was Narasimha Rao who changed it in 5 years from at that time it was 2.5% when he took over, 2.5% per year rate of growth. He took it all the way to 8%. And after that, 8%, 7%, 6% is no big deal for us. And this is the thing that for which Narasimha Rao deserved getting Bharat Ratna. He should have got Bharat Ratna also for the fact that he courageously recognized the state of Israel, the only true friend we had during any war. We had so many wars, 4 or 5 wars. They secretly, without having any diplomatic relations, Israel would provide us all the help we asked for. For instance, we had Russian tanks, but we had no spare parts. So the Israelis went to Czechoslovakia, just had given up Russian presence in their country, and used the same tanks that they had received from Russia or USSR, and cannibalized it, and took those spare parts and gave it to us. This is 1971 war with Pakistan, when Indira Gandhi was in power, and they didn't want even take the name of Israel, but secretly, in order to get spare parts, we took their help. So, but Narasimha Rao said, no, why not? It's a part of the United Nations. Why should I not have diplomatic relations with them? So, Narasimha Rao is the one that who's got it, like Ambedkar. Ambedkar got it in 1990. Sardar Patel, 91. And now Narasimha Rao. I also, the people are making big hoo-ha about Charan Singh. But see, Charan Singh deserves it from a certain point of view. I would strongly recommend that people take that. He literally brought the farmers into a kind of a hole. The farmers, you see, were exploited during the British period. They were exploited during the Muslim era, and there was no one who was ready to talk about them. So there was a Congress Sammelan in Nagpur in 1956. There, when Jawaharlal Nehru gave a speech, he was talking about Russia and how they have done this and their communes must come, this and that, the usual stuff. And he had brought cooperative, he proposed a cooperative agriculture. At that time, Charan Singh asked for time, went to the podium and spoke and gave a long analysis why for a country like India, collective agriculture will not work. And the congressmen all voted even Jawaharlal Nehru down on this. So I would say even for that one thing, he should be. And of course, he was an extremely clean man, very honest. I think he had never taken a pie from the state for anything. Even when he traveled by aeroplane while he was, for a brief moment, the prime minister, he made his wife pay the fare, the commercial fare for accompanying him, which is normally given free. So I think it's fine. And of course, as a scientist, Swaminathan clearly deserves it. He did help Lal Bahadur Shastri to bring about the fact that we could get new seeds and then we can have a green revolution. Anyway, I'm going up far, but what I'm wanting to say is that I have gone to court for the reason that secularism and socialism should not be part of our constitution. First of all, if anybody takes the constitution and starts reading, there is one issue. There is nowhere today any court, and any Supreme Court definitely, our Supreme Court, will say that this preamble cannot be amended. It can be amended. There's no question about it. It can be amended. So what is the difficulty in amending this? The difficulty is that unlike all other countries, our people who created this preamble, they, for some reason which is not there in paper anywhere, they put in the word, which I'll read out, in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, we do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. That is what the preamble says. So the preamble has put the date. And therefore, anything after is illegal. It cannot be done. You cannot do it. And so, if you read the Constitution, they have put the socialist, secular, and all that. And what date they have given? They have given 26th day of November 1949. How can it be? When it was November, when the Parliament voted, it was November 1976. Because there was no way they could bring it any other way. And they thought nobody would object. And I would like to put it on record that the first person who understood the significance of this was Sharad Joshi. And he's no more. But one day when he was not very well and it looked as if he's in a lot of trouble, he called me. He was a good friend of mine. He called me and he said, I want a promise from you. I said, well, what is that? He said, I want you to remove this socialism from the preamble of our Constitution. It's an insult and so forth. He was very emotional about it. So, I mean, when I saw his condition, I naturally told him I will do it. So, luckily, the situation has come now. I'm doing it. So, what I'm pointing out to all of you is that I think I'm on a good shape. Of course, there are a lot of people who are jealous who now will get in. I saw the communists have also now wanted to enter into this. Some people will try to deviate it and so on. But our Supreme Court, I think, by and large, is smart enough to know it. Even in this preliminary hearing that we had there on Friday, they showed sagacity. And finally, one of the judges of the two, he said that, listen, he told somebody who, I think the communists were those who wanted to enter in, he said, please understand what Dr. Swamy has brought out, and that is that the date is important, because date is a part of the, has become part of the preamble, and therefore you cannot remove it. If you cannot remove it, you can't put something else of a later date. Only if there was no date mentioned, you would be able to make the amendments and bring it in. As I said, a preamble is not something that cannot be amended, but the preamble of Indian Constitution is something that cannot be amended because of that date. And there's no way we can go back in date. This is protecting us. We're happy to see. Otherwise, tomorrow, we can also have Hindu Rashtra in our thing. Why only socialism? We'll have Hindu Rashtra. Will people want that? But anyway, there's no threat of that. There are articles of the Constitution, about 7 or 8 of them, which are straight from Hindu Rashtra. Protection of cow. You can't slaughter cow. That's in the Constitution. And similarly, other things, which are part of the Hindutva program, is there in the Constitution. But I don't think, for instance, all religions lead to God. That's a Hindu concept. But I think you should not bring it in any religious way. This is a way of constructing a society, and therefore we should not disturb it. It has worked so far. There was an attempt in the emergency that has failed, and now let us go ahead with the present Constitution and not try to meddle with it, and go ahead with we can have articles of the Constitution. We can have amendments. Parliament can do a thing, but as far as the preamble is concerned, secularism, socialism should be removed, deleted, and we should go further. Over to you, Jagdish.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for that enlightening information you gave us with relation to the word secular and socialism or socialist thing. And a lot of our friends from Maharashtra, where Shetkari Sangatna, led by Sharad Joshi, had done a lot of things. In fact, Sharad Joshi refused to sign the form saying that he refused to register his political party because he had to swear by socialism, and he said, I am against socialism. So it's a befitting tribute that Dr. Swamy, you have remembered Sharad Joshi from Maharashtra, who led the very important farmers agitation, Shetkari Sangatna, and you are doing this also in memory of his long-term demand. Before I ask the question, I think Arvind Chaturvedi wants to ask you something in Hindi.
जगदीश, सबसे पहले मैं जो आपने शरद जोशी के बारे में कहा है, मैं कुछ और जोड़ना चाहता हूं। जब जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी थे 1989 में, शरद जोशी की जो पार्टी थी स्वतंत्र भारत पार्टी, और जनता पार्टी ने मिलकर चुनाव लड़ा था, और महाराष्ट्र की सीटों पे आपको याद होगा कि मैं और आप दोनों मिलकर शरद जोशी के घर गए थे बम्बई में, और उनसे संबंध में पार्टी की बात हुई थी, और हमने ज्वाइंट कैंडिडेट उतारे थे लोकसभा के चुनाव में। एक बात और मैं जोड़ना चाहता हूं, जब बीपी सिंह सरकार ने शरद जोशी को राज्यसभा का मेंबर बनाया था, तो उन्होंने राज्यसभा की मेंबर की शपथ लेने से इनकार कर दिया था कि इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की शपथ में नहीं ले सकता, क्योंकि इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में सेकुलर और सोशलिस्ट शब्द जुड़े हुए हैं। हालांकि बाद में उनको मनाया गया और उन्होंने मान लिया और बाद में शपथ भी उन्होंने ग्रहण की और वो एक आयोग के चेयरमैन भी बने बीपी सिंह के समय में, ये अलग बात है। लेकिन हम और आपने जो बात कही, डॉक्टर स्वामी को धन्यवाद है कि उन्होंने एक किसान नेता को याद किया। ऐसे किसान नेता को इस समय जब चौधरी चरण सिंह के नाम पर भी, किसान के नाम पर उनको भारत रत्न दिया गया है, मैं समझता हूं शरद जोशी कोई छोटे किसान नेता नहीं थे, वो भी उसी कद के किसान नेता थे जिन्होंने देश के किसानों को जोड़ा। खैर वो विषयांतर होगा। तो मैं डॉक्टर स्वामी से एक जो सेकुलर के बारे में सेकुलर शब्द के बारे में है वो मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ। डॉक्टर स्वामी, हम लोग एक शब्द इस्तेमाल करते हैं, वाक्य इस्तेमाल करते हैं, सर्वधर्म समभाव। सर्वधर्म समभाव एक अलग वाक्य है और दूसरा उसके तुलनात्मक शब्द है धर्मनिरपेक्षता। हालांकि धर्मनिरपेक्षता को भारतीय जनता पार्टी अनुवाद के रूप में वो कहते हैं पंथ निरपेक्षता है, ये धर्मनिरपेक्षता नहीं है। तो हम पंथ निरपेक्ष हैं। अगर हम पंथ निरपेक्ष हैं और धर्मनिरपेक्षता में और पंथ निरपेक्षता में फर्क है, तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अब तक अपने 16 सालों के सरकार में क्यों इस बात का प्रयास नहीं किया? 6 साल वाजपेयी जी की सरकार थी जो पंथ निरपेक्षता की कस्में खाते रहे और 10 वर्ष पूरे हो रहे हैं आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार के। 16 वर्षों में इन्होंने पंथ निरपेक्षता के बारे में एक शब्द नहीं किया और आप अकेले ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जो इस बात को कोर्ट तक लेकर गए। जहां तक हिंदू राष्ट्र का प्रश्न है, ये एक अपनाने वाली बात है। शायद मोदी जी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी और अन्य संगठन ये समझते हैं कि बहुत शीघ्र ही जब देश में हम एक पार्टी का रूल कर लेंगे, एक पार्टी का राज हो जाएगा, जिससे वो प्रयास किया जा रहा है, तो शायद उसकी अवधारणा को भी बल मिले। लेकिन मेरा प्रश्न वो नहीं है। मेरा प्रश्न ये है, इन ए सेक्युलर गवर्नमेंट, जब सरकार सेक्युलर शब्द का इस्तेमाल करती है, जैसे ऑल रिलीजन्स आर इक्वल, nobody will be discriminated because of his or her religion. Anybody who does not even believe in religion will also have the same rights. और जो हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं आर्टिकल 25 से 28 तक, the inherent thing is secularism. Inherent thing, I'm not saying the word. और दूसरा जो सबसे बड़ी बात है, जब प्रधानमंत्री ने अभी हाल में 22 जनवरी को रामलला मंदिर का प्राण प्रतिष्ठा किया था, सम पीपल इंक्लूडिंग असदुद्दीन ओवैसी और दूसरी पार्टियां, कुछ संगठन थे जो कोर्ट में गए ये कहते हुए कि एक धर्मनिरपेक्ष सरकार है और धर्मनिरपेक्ष सरकार को किसी भी धार्मिक कार्य में खुलकर भाग नहीं लेना चाहिए। इस तरह कोर्ट ने इसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया। कोर्ट ने इस प्रस्ताव को नहीं माना, इस पिटीशन को नहीं माना और इसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया। तो सरकार का धर्म के प्रति क्या रोल होना चाहिए, क्या भूमिका होना चाहिए? और जो हमारे संविधान में धर्मनिरपेक्ष शब्द है, पंथ निरपेक्ष कह लें या धर्मनिरपेक्ष कह लें, इनमें क्या तारतम्य है बीच में?
जी, सवाल ये, जहां तक सर्वधर्म समभाव, ये तो है सेकंड आइटम, लिबर्टी ऑफ थॉट, एक्सप्रेशन, belief, faith, worship. I mean, आपको पूरा अधिकार है कि आप अपने धर्म, अपने उपासना पद्धति, ये सारी चीजों के लिए आप पर कोई अंकुश नहीं लग सकता है। मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि मेरी, यानी कोई मुझे कहेंगे कि हिंदू जो उपासना पद्धति है या हिंदू धर्म जिसको कहते हैं वो है, ये किसी और धर्म के बराबर है, ये मैं नहीं मानता। मैं मानता हूँ कि हिंदू धर्म सर्वश्रेष्ठ, लेकिन मेरी अधिकार नहीं है कि बाकी लोगों को विवश करके मैं उनको हिंदू बनाऊं। मैं तो ये प्रचार भी नहीं करूंगा इसके लिए। किसी को अपने आप कोई कहे कि नहीं मैं हिंदू जो है ये है, वो सबसे ज्यादा साइंटिफिक वैज्ञानिक है, तो वो आने चाहते हैं तो मैं रोकूंगा नहीं। परंतु जहां तक मुझे अधिकार है ये ये निर्णय सबके सामने बताने के लिए कि हिंदू धर्म सर्वश्रेष्ठ है, क्योंकि वो सबको अधिकार देती है और मूल बातों पर वो बताती है ये मूल बातें हैं, परंतु जिस रास्ते से आपको करना करे। कृष्णा भी भगवत गीता में कहता है अर्जुन को, मैंने सारे कुछ बता दिया आपको, अब तुम जो करना करो। ये आखिर में चैप्टर 18 में। तो ऐसे रिलीजन के लिए मैं जरूर प्रचार करूंगा, परंतु धर्म निरपेक्ष का मतलब ये नहीं कि मैं मेरा धर्म को ही इसके बात ही नहीं करूं। ये क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए। आज जहां तक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, ऐसा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो देश में दुनिया में कहीं नहीं है। क्रिश्चियन कंट्रीज में जाकर देख लीजिए कितना स्पष्ट कहते हैं, आपको आपका ऊपर दमन नहीं करेंगे, परंतु इतना जरूर कहूंगा कि वो आपको आपको वो जो प्रचार आप करने चाहते हो वो करने नहीं देंगे, वो उनमें अंकुश लगेगी। आप यूरोप में जाकर आप देख सकते हैं। तो हमारे देश ऐसा नहीं है। हम तो चाहते हैं अनेक मार्ग है, और वास्तव में यहाँ तक हम पहुँच गए हैं कि जहाँ बुद्धिज्म, सिखिज्म एंड जैनिज्म, इसको हम हिंदू ही मानते हैं। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा है कि हिंदू माने सनातन धर्म प्लस ये 3-4। तो मैं इसीलिए कह रहा हूँ कि उसमें हम ज्यादा ना दे ये जाए, परंतु आज जो मैंने बात कही है वो तो सिर्फ टेक्निकल बात की
जी।
मैं सोशलिज्म का विरोधी हूँ इसके माने उसके लिए नहीं कर रहा हूँ। मैं सेकुलरिज्म का कोई अर्थ नहीं है, उसके 1000 अर्थ हैं। ये यूरोप में सिर्फ पादरे जो वहाँ के चर्च में है और जो राजा है उनके बीच में लड़ाई नहीं होनी चाहिए, तो उन्होंने कहा कि तुम्हारे दोनों अलग अलग मार्ग हैं, तुम्हें दोनों को अपने आप जो करना करो।
डेमोक्रेटिक सोशलिज्म चलता है यूरोप में।
हाँ, दैट्स राइट। तो ये मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि हमारे जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है इसमें हमने तो पहले से ही, ये कोई अमेंडमेंट से नहीं, ये जो लाए थे ये ला भी नहीं सकते हैं। लॉ मिनिस्टर कहते हैं कि नहीं नहीं लीगली इट इज ओके, बट जब डेट पड़ा हुआ है किसके अंदर, वही उसी प्रियम्बल के अंदर, तो इसीलिए और जोड़ ही नहीं सकते आप। तो ये मैं कह के कहता हूं कि इसीलिए ये सोशलिज्म सेकुलरिज्म को हटाना चाहिए।
डॉक्टर स्वामी, अगर हम प्रीएम्बल की डेट चेंज कर दें और ये बोले कि 1976 से हम प्रीएम्बल अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं, या प्रीएम्बल में जैसे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट होता है,
नहीं इसको अमेंड करना, इसको डेट को हमें कैसे अमेंड करेंगे आप? नहीं, आप ये नहीं कह सकते हैं कि ये सारी चीजें जो हमने लिखी है वो अब नया डेट के अनुसार नहीं, ये तो पहले से ही हो गया। इसका तो बहस हो गई, उसके बाद शपथ ले ली और उसको मानकर कौन सा 26 तारीख नवंबर 1950 में जनवरी में उसको स्थापित कर दिया था। परंतु जब तो ये है, मैं समझता हूँ कि लोगों को समझना चाहिए। और ये अब ये सोशलिज्म, वैसे भी सोशलिज्म वो तो कोई कारण नहीं बनती है हमारी बातों में ही, हाँ, परंतु सोशलिज्म तो एक रास्ता है जो कल लोग ढकेल सकते हैं, उसको लात मार के हटा सकते हैं। कितने देश हैं जिन्होंने सोशलिज्म छोड़ दी? रशिया ने तो छोड़ दी, जो टुकड़ा होकर छोड़ दी। चाइना ने लगभग, जो उनके कार्य से लगता है कि वो सोशलिज्म में विश्वास नहीं करते। तो सोशलिज्म कहाँ चल रहा है, तो उसको हमारे माथे पर क्यों हम चिपका करके घूमे?
Dr. Arvind Chaturvedi, just for the record, I just wish to tell you, it was not during VP Singh's time that Sharad Joshi became an MP. He was an MP of the Rajya Sabha from 2004 to 2010. And also in December 2005, he introduced a private member bill to amend the Representation of People's Act by removing the word socialism. Just for the record, because our viewers.
Yeah. BP Singh's time, he was made chairman of the Agriculture Commission. The BP Singh's time, he was made the chairman of Agriculture Commission. Yes.
So this is just for Dr. Swamy. Please tell our viewers now when is the next date of hearing and how much time, because some viewers want to know, and some viewers want to know when did you file this, and will the government of India has to take a stand on this?
I filed it in 2020.
Okay.
And I hesitated for a long time because this was a promise I made to Sharad Joshi, so I didn't want to do a thing, half-baked stuff and put it in. But it was in 2020, and then of course the corona came, and then we couldn't get any. In the meantime, people who there's one of the problems we have. What is when there's an invention, there's a patent act. We don't have any patent acts in our. So once I file, before and it goes before the registrar, and he goes through all these things, somebody is able to get to that petition of mine and then copy it and put it out as theirs, and so just so that ultimately it will be known by their name. So these are problems that exist, but I don't care as long as secularism and socialism is removed from the constitution.
Dr. Swamy, has government been given notice?
Of course, it's been given notice. There's not formal notice yet, but we gave them notice. They could have easily come and attended it, but they didn't. Like Ram Setu, even though the whole party wants Ram Setu to be declared as a national heritage monument, but because I proposed it, Mr. Modi won't do it. So, therefore, the same thing here. Because I proposed it. Even on Ram Mandir, he had filed a petition against what I argued, you see. Only because the court didn't take notice of it. So, but now he says it's all his doing.
Dr. Swamy, some people have said that slogan we adopted during G20, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, has that anything to do with the secularism, or secularism also has the same meaning interpretation as Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam?
No, see, secularism is specific to religion. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is that we are all one people. You can have different religions and so on and so forth. So it can't be the same thing. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam was not supposed to be used the way Mr. Modi used it. It was essentially a statement that Hinduism is all over. It's all over the world. And therefore it's become, in fact, Hinduism had gone very far. It's now contracted. But I would say in the period of 300 AD, Hinduism was all over the world. You see in the eastern part, even today, if you go to Cambodia, you'll see in China. You go to China, you'll see the influence. People say, no, that is Buddhism. Yes, but it is Mahayana Buddhism, which is almost Hinduism.
But Dr. Swamy, in old Parliament building, it is inscribed that I am Nija Parvati Ganna Lakshya Sam Utar Charte Naam to Bahut. So this actually means that even Parliament has adopted this concept from Maha Upanishad.
Yeah, of course it is. It was It was inserted after the British went, although the building is made by the British. But when we took over, this is all the contribution of Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Patel, and Dr. Ambedkar. Ambedkar only Modi made him bitter. Otherwise, he was a Pakka Hindu. In his earlier writings, when he was a student in Columbia University in the United States, I mean, what wonderful stuff he had written. But Nehru made him completely, made him bitter. But when all Christians, Muslims, everyone went to him to say that to convert to their religion, he didn't agree. He became a Buddhist instead, which is, as good as being a Hindu.
Yeah, it may be a little digression, but Dr. Swamy, one VJP former minister and economist, Dr. Arun Shourie, has written a book, Worshipping False Gods, criticizing Ambedkar. I mean, though it is not a forum for us to discuss that, but yes, there are people who are far and against.
Yeah, Ambedkar was a true genius. The way if you read the proceedings of this of creating this constitution and producing the book, you'll know that what a great man he was, and how bitterly he was sidelined. He fought 3 Lok Sabha elections and he lost all deposit because Nehru ensured that nobody was there in the booth for him, and pushed him out of the cabinet also after having taken him. And when everybody was taken, that time he was also taken.
Jagdish?
Okay, Arvind, you can wind up. But before that, I would like to make an announcement that next Sunday, the 18th of February, we will not be having our Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom because of Dr. Swamy's travel program to Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh. So we will be back only on the 25th of February. 25th of February.
Not Ghaziabad. Not Ghaziabad. You said Ghaziabad.
Okay. Okay, but we will not be. We'll be having the program on the 25th of February 2024 at 8 p.m. Arvind, you can carry on.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Dr. Swamy has highlighted one very important issue. And for 3 years, more than 3 years, it is pending in the courts. And there are many people who are looking forward to it. And especially now, since the court has also taken notice of the date, this issue, the date part, is very, very important aspect of your petition. And I'm sure the court will also realize that this was a mistake of the government at that time. And the only thing is to nullify that amendment. And this government is the amendment is carried out or nullified by the court order, then of course we will be not secular and will also be not socialist. It will satisfy many people. However, it may dissatisfy also several the segments, but that doesn't matter. The right should win and the wrong should lose. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for bringing this to our viewers. In fact, many of them were not even aware that this kind of petition is pending in the court. And thanks, Jagdish, for organizing this program, carrying up to 224th episode. And next Sunday, we'll be meeting on, not next Sunday, 25th February, we'll be meeting with a new program and with Dr. Subramanian Swamy, while thanking the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Swaminathan, Tejas Navalgul, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair for bringing this program and carrying it out in the 4th year now. Thank you very much. We also thank the viewers for their support. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Thank you all. We'll be meeting on 25th.